What's going on, everybody? I hope you had a great and fantastic week wherever you might be. I am back. I have to start off by saying that I'm sorry about last week. I did miss the video, apparently. What happened, I don't know. Do I have a defense? We'll have to see. But I thought that I'd done the video, and then I realized that I hadn't. And then I realized that it was like Thursday or Friday, and by then I was kind of thinking, you know what, I'm just gonna let it go, and I'll just catch up this week. Just because I didn't want to give you a video and then give you a video about the weekend, because that's kind of what would have ended up happening. So, yeah. As you can see, I also changed the angle and everything today, and we're not using the nasty webcam or anything like that. We're just kind of gonna make it nice. So hopefully this will increase the quality of the video each week, and hopefully you all enjoy it. You can see me a little bit more clearly than you did. I'm also not recording straight to YouTube, which was always like the biggest mistake of my life. Alright, anyway, this last week was great. Lots of interesting cases, things like that. Lots of, you know, I don't know, like I've said before, I am just that like weird person that I honestly just love going to school. Especially law school has been just fascinating, and I've loved every minute of it. So every class is pretty awesome. There's only one class that I think everybody, any of my law student friends that see this video will agree, or anybody else that has had a class like it. But legal research and writing is the class that it's kind of the bane of all of our existences right now. It's just, I don't want to make it sound bad, but legal research and writing, the way that it's taught to us, is almost like, I kind of equate it to like an undergraduate class. I was talking to somebody else about that the other day. And it's just a lot of busy work about writing. And I know that writing takes practice, and so you have to work at it and practice at it and things like that, of course, and that's fine. It's just that we get like an assignment after, like, and there are things like, you know, do these citations, or do, you know, this research worksheet, and then do these little exercises out of a book. And it's just kind of like continuous things. It's not like, you know, we do like things in class to build up to one big thing. We're constantly having to turn in work, and so that's kind of, you know, I don't know, it seems kind of busy workish to me, but other than that, I can survive that. That's fine, because in the end, we are learning the skills that will be making us great lawyers, so that's important anyway. The only other thing I don't like about it is that we have to do this thing that was an online-based thing called Core Grammar for Lawyers, and Core Grammar for Lawyers is essentially like an online, for my IRS friends, imagine like an ELMS class or things like that, or just an online kind of system that teaches you grammar. And the way that it's built is just awful. Like, it is terrible, because it'll give you these complex things. Like, I was doing one on nested quotations the other day, and it'll give you this, you give you like 5 questions at the end of each section, for example, and it'll say, okay, here you go, it's like a giant thing, and inside this quote, there's multiple quotations inside quotations, and put the, quotation marks in the right positions and things like that. Or if it's not, then don't put them there. And so you get in your mind, you think, oh, there's got to be, like, every other quote has got like a quote inside a quote inside a quote. But then, like, in your mind, you're like, but does this one have 2 quotes or 3 quotes, or, how do you have to do? And plus, sometimes if you misclick and you think you put a quotation mark in, or, at the end, and you didn't, when you have like 3 or 4 quotation marks at the end, and you don't, if you miss any question, like, say, you have to get 5 right to pass at the end of each section. If you are on the 5th one and you get it wrong, you have to do all 5 again. And so sometimes you get in this loop of like getting 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5, and you have to restart and restart. It's okay, survived. Made it through, got them all done, so I don't have to do it anymore. We only had to have half of them done this last week, but I went ahead, I just powered through all of them to make sure that I got all of them out of the way. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Yes, good job. But we are working on a legal memo, a practice one for our final. So this is like a year-long course, and at the end of the year, we turn in like a memorandum, and then next year we actually do an oral argument, I guess. So that sounds pretty exciting. Something else that happened this week is we did kind of like a mock closing arguments in a case. For you, of course, that are following me on Facebook, you have seen the case from Utah that I had posted. So You can see the details, some of the details on it, or at least what the case name and everything was. That's all on Facebook, and if you want to read or ask me about it, go ahead. And we did kind of mock closing arguments, and ironically, he picked two students at random to be the prosecutor and the defense attorney, and the prosecutor in the case just randomly was the only other student that I know here at school that was from Utah. And he actually is from Utah as well, and so I thought it was kind of interesting that the case was from Utah and he was the prosecutor for it, so that was kind of funny. Other than that, talking about some interesting things in lots of my other classes. Today in our Foundations of Law class, we actually had one of the sitting Supreme Court justices, and I think one or two of his staff attorneys were in class today. So we got to hear a few words of wisdom from him. Very interesting, very cool. And today, we were talking about joinder, and we've been talking about things like amended pleadings and things like that in our civil procedure class. So the way we're learning civil procedure is a little bit different, I guess, than they have previously done. And we're learning right now the rules of civil procedure, so the federal rules and things like that, and kind of learning them through cases that we study. And it's pretty interesting, actually. It's very kind of convenient because it's all rules-based, so we're able to kind of have that foundation. Okay, before I go into it, I'll study the rule, and then I'll read the case, and then the case shows how the rule applies, and then we talk about it in class. So very cool stuff. And criminal law is fun as always, and so is torts. Torts are always like that great, awesome story that we get to read and things like that, and that's been great. And yeah, really enjoying school though. I mean, I've said it before, I'm that weird person, that I love law school. It's a lot of reading all the time, a lot of briefing cases, and there's always a lot to do. You're never just not busy. There's never nothing, where there's nothing to do. It's always, you're doing something. And it's fantastic. I don't know what else to say about that. I'll try to keep that enthusiasm, I guess. And everything else has been great. Weather's starting to kind of cool off a little bit. Been doing some barbecuing, and that was fantastic. And yeah, the barbecue was super tasty. Did a pork shoulder this week, and it turned out fabulous. Some of the best I think I've ever made in my whole life. And yeah, let's see what else has been going on. I talked last time about how we were getting Dish, and we've had Dish for a little while now, and it's been great. The technology and everything is fantastic. Really enjoying what were able to get from Dish. So didn't think it was going to be as good as it has been, but actually it's been really been pretty good for us, and the quality and everything has been great. Let's see, what else do I have to talk about? Just like I said, did barbecue, lots of football. So with that said, everything, like I said, going well. I hope everybody else is doing fantastic, wherever you might be. I hope that everything is working out for you. And remember always here on YouTube to click subscribe, and also to give me some likes if you like what you're seeing. If you have any questions about law school, or any questions you just want to ask me, feel free to hit me up here, Facebook, anywhere. And anyway, thank you very much for watching. Again, miss you all, hope you all are doing great, and I will be back next week.